All right, folks, we welcome you back. And as you know, Donald Trump fulfilling a promise today, putting out a list of a bunch of names, a bunch of people who are currently sitting on the bench, and saying that these are the people he would consider nominating to the U.S. Supreme Court should he become president of the United States. He promised it. He delivered it. Joining us now to talk about it, who better than Alan Dershowitz, professor at Harvard Law School, Newsmax Contributor, noted criminal defense attorney, and check out his blog at newsmax.com/insiders. Hi, Alan.
Hi, how are you? Good.
I'm doing well. So, okay, as I ask you this question, we're going to put up the names with the pictures of all the people. So, what were your impressions when you saw this list?
Well, they're all relatively unknown. They're all quite conservative. They all clerk for conservative judges or justices. They're all white. They sound like a list of very good speakers at a Federalist convention. The Federalist is a conservative legal organization. He certainly has kept his promise to the conservatives. There is not a single moderate or liberal on the list. They're all conservative. They're all qualified. There are no unqualified people on the list. They're people who would be confirmed by a Republican Senate and probably have difficulty being confirmed by a Democratic Senate.
Are you surprised? I sense the skepticism or the sarcasm in describing the overall makeup of the list. Are you surprised? Would you have expected more liberal names on the list at all?
No, it's the same list. I think that President Bush would have probably proposed. It's the same list that any conservative Republican president would propose. It comes largely from the Heritage Foundation. These are not people that Donald Trump has ever heard of or ever met. These are names that are given to him by conservative legal scholars, and they're acceptable names. They're nothing exciting. They're not, one would say, not among the most distinguished jurists in the world, but then again, they're not mediocre. They're good, solid, conservative judges who would get confirmed.
And they're young. In addition to being conservative, I'm struck by the fact that a bunch of them are young, and a bunch of them are on state benches as opposed to federal benches, correct?
And that's a good thing. I think we need more diversity on the Supreme Court. I would actually like to see some practicing lawyers put on the Supreme Court. That surprised me a little bit. I would think that Trump, who's a practical guy, would want to have a couple of practicing lawyers, people who will really distinguish themselves in the courts. And there are some very, very good conservative lawyers practicing around the country who would lend some diversity to the court by their practical experience. This is a very kind of academic group. They're not Trump's kind of people. They're not the kind of people Trump would be comfortable with, and that surprises me a little bit. I think it's a very defensive list. It's a list that says, see, I'm a conservative, I'm being cautious. There's nobody on the list that's in any way risky, and I'm myself disappointed that he didn't put some practicing lawyers on the list.
Do you think that if one or two of these or three of these people were to be appointed, based on what you might know, and I know it's early in the process, and you may not have a lot of knowledge about how these people have voted or how they've ruled, but do you think we could see an overturning of Roe v. Wade? Do you think we would see a solidification of the Second Amendment and right on down the line?
I think the Second Amendment, probably yes. Roe versus Wade, see, what we don't know about these people is how much they believe in stare decisis, how much they believe in allowing the law to remain the way it is, even if they disagree with it. And a number of the justices, Rehnquist and Roberts, although they disagree with prior decisions, they say, look, we really are conservative in the sense that we don't overrule prior decisions. And we can't know that because these are circuit court judges, and the Supreme Court has different rules of stare decisis, different rules than circuit court judges. So you're always buying a pig in a poke when it comes to whether or not the justice will see his or her role as overruling decisions like Roe versus Wade. So I don't think we'll see an overruling of Roe versus Wade, but I do think we'll see a solidification of the Second Amendment. I think where we'll see a big difference is an accommodation between the free exercise of religion and the Establishment Clause. There'll be much more emphasis on free exercise, much more rights to religious organizations, much less concern about establishing religion and the government putting its heavy thumb on the side of religion.
And of course,
I think we'll see that. We have no idea where they'll stand on important issues like free speech.
Right.
They'll be very conservative on criminal justice matters, but hard to predict.
And of course, first, the premise is that Donald Trump wins the election, so that all has to happen first. Alan, great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much.